Katrina. Um, I'm really interested to learn more about you. Like, first of all, just your headshots alone are so fun. And I just finished presenting on the importance of influencer marketing and
Um,
how authenticity plays into that. So I can just see your personality shining through.
yeah, and if you've noticed, which I didn't realize until just now, I'm wearing the same shirt as my headshot. So
Oh,
you get a, you get a double dose of
well,
the,
that worked out well.
I don't know if it's cheetah or leopard. I don't know. I mean, that's something I always thought I couldn't run a business because I don't fit the mold of what I thought a business owner was. I grew up in a town of 500 people
Yes.
and in the Midwest, and I thought a business owner was, or a business lady, was someone who worked downtown Chicago, wore a black suit, stiletto heels, had a little briefcase thing, and you can see how I dress. I'm just creative on my own thing. And it took a really long time for me to step into that and just
Yes.
sort of be with it. And the weird
Absolutely.
thing, and I can't explain it, but I can tell you, the more I am myself, the more I show up as me, the bigger my business gets. And I don't know how the
Isn't that
universe
funny?
works. I don't know how that happens, but in 12 years of business, I can tell you that happens. So in this last year with new
Yes.
headshots, I'm like, forget it. I don't have to wear all black. Wear the cheetah,
Yep. Absolutely. 100%. And one of the things that I just shared is that it really does draw your perfect client to you. And I think that that's so um, pertinent to our discussion today, and because we're talking about how to build a profitable business while still keeping your stuff together, like just
Yeah.
emotionally, mentally, physically, keeping it all together and giving yourself permission to be authentic. I think you just did such a phenomenal job letting that personality shine through. And obviously, it's paying off leaps and bounds. So thanks for proving
Yeah.
my point.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thanks for encouraging me to wear more cheetah. I mean, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what you do and how it pertains to both, building a profitable business and then showing up for yourself so that you remain okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here's what I know. Burnout isn't fun or productive for anyone. And I run a marketing agency, and there's this thing in the marketing world and other industries too, where boundaries are very, very slim. So there is an expectation of, well, I know you have your phone on you, so you can see my Slack messages coming through, into the evening, dinner time, whatever. What I've learned in running this business to help me not get burnout is I have to have the boundaries. When I started this business, I had, gosh, a 2.5-year-old and a 2-week-old baby. And it was just sort of like freelance on the side. I had just left my corporate role. And I was really just trying to get some side money coming in. That was probably 2011. The company had been on a wage freeze, so I was making my entry-level salary. I had 2 kids, and I took my salary, backed out taxes and daycare. I'm like, well, I'll make $0. So let me just freelance, get something going.
Yes.
But I had some decent boundaries even from the start. And I can't remember exactly what the schedule was back then when the kids were little, but my new schedule is, they're both in middle school now. So I work during school hours. I take very light Fridays. I don't take client meetings on Fridays. And part of that I had to learn the hard way is if I take a client meeting on Friday, the expectation is Monday when we come in, whatever we talked about on the meeting needs to be done. And
Absolutely.
it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
We as a company, we take holiday like President's Day, you know what I mean? Um,
Yes.
and part of that is I'm looking at our clients, I'm like, well, you guys are taking that off. Why aren't we? And I really learned through the pandemic with boundaries. You know, we had the kids home, and I've worked from home for 12 years, and this space I thought was my space. And now I have the whole family all day in my space. And
Yes.
so, I mean, again, just back to the boundaries. These are my working hours. These are my days on, days off, and really trying your best to stick to that.
Yeah. So one of the things that you mentioned when we talked about bringing you on is you have
Yeah.
some great ways to find clients quickly.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about this 3 clients in 3 days deal? Because I know a lot of women watching are probably like, gimme, gimme.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Here's what I can tell you. You can get 3 clients in 3 days and 30 days, whatever it is. We as women leaders have to stop being afraid of being seen trying, right? So if we've left our corporate job and we're looking for clients, well, guess what? We have a whole bunch of connections, but we're always so afraid to ask them because we don't know how it's going to be received. Are they going to judge us? Are they going to, basically kind of stall our energy on it? But here's what we're bringing into this. And I turned 40 this year, and I'm really excited for this new me of like, stop being afraid of being seen trying. So step one, if you want to get some more clients, make a little list of your connections, right? Even scroll through your contact list. Like, who do I know that's, depending on what you sell or what you do, like, who do I know that's a professional that might have relationships to companies that I'm trying to get into? That 100% will always stir up business. So that's what I recommend you start with.
Yeah. One of
Yeah.
the things that I started talking about most recently was how I, as a woman, was really the programming, if you will, was ingrained in me that women were to be seen and not heard. And so this created a really difficult dynamic because here I am in this large group of women that I've built completely organically,
Yeah.
and I'm not doing anything with it. Like, why am I not finding my people in this group simply
Yeah.
by showing up and sharing who I am? And so what I'll just share a really organic story about how this happened to prove your point. I reached out to a panel of women and I said, I want you to speak, I want you to be seen, and I want to give you a platform. And one of these women happened to be a coach who specializes in sales. And she said, yes. And what do I give you in return? And I said, oh, nothing. I just want to give you a platform. And she said, I believe in karma, so
So
I
I'm
need you
giving
to
you.
call me. Yeah.
We're gonna start stopping the karma train here. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And so she did. She called me. She gave me an hour of her time, and she said, "Sis, I don't get on the phone for less than $1,500 an hour, and you need to be me." And so that's where this all started, was
Yeah.
simply from one person seeing, that little bridge that needed to be built in me. And she has a forever client. I am never not going to work with her.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
literally transformed my life. And it just goes to prove exactly what you're saying, that it's that simple to get 3 clients in 3 days.
There's something programmed in us, as most of us as female business leaders, that is, we feel like we have to be the best kept secret. We can't talk about what we're doing. We can't share case studies, great results, all of that, because that's bragging, that's audacious. We don't do that.
Right.
But if you text someone in your contacts and say, hey, I need some help, people are willing to help. And in fact, I'm actually doing this 100-day challenge for myself, which is 100 ways to leave your comfort zone. So every day I have to sort of retrain my brain, because after being in business for 12 years, I know my contact list is gold, and I forget sometimes. And it's not always me saying, hey, can you help me? Sometimes, back to your karma, what you were saying about karma, sometimes I'm like, hey, how are you? What's going on? Anything I can do? You know, that sort of thing. So
Yes.
it goes both ways, you know?
Absolutely, 100%. So, for women who are interested in working with you, can you tell us a little bit more about how you work with your clients and how they can get involved?
Yeah. So I actually have two different brands. One is North Star HQ, which is a full service digital marketing agency. We work with a lot of trades clients, we work with software clients, business services, and this is the done for you. Like your business is up and running and you really want to build out your marketing funnel. The other arm of the business, which I think is really fantastic for a lot of more on the startup, more on the smaller business, is Not the Marketing Girl. The reason it's called Not the Marketing Girl is because every company has the HR lady, the IT guy, and the marketing girl. And you can see from my gray hair, like I'm not the marketing girl anymore. And what that is to say is these marketing girls, they show up, they are 100% trying their best and doing everything they can, but just because they're junior level, a lot of times they don't have the business acumen to really fuel a marketing and sales campaign. And so on that side of the business, we go in, we train that person, we build them a strategy, and then they can follow that strategy step by step to then grow that business. And so it really can bridges the gap between someone who like is trying, but they just don't have the experience yet, you know?
Absolutely. So do you come in and you work as kind of a consultant, or are you more of a done for you in that role too?
More of a consultant. So the best thing in that
Okay.
role that I have to offer is what we call a rescue package, where basically you can buy a 10-hour or 20-hour block from us. We come in, we identify the biggest needs, and we build a plan, you know, that your team can implement. And they're really fun. I love
Awesome.
building those because I feel like a superhero. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, all of this experience leading up to this moment, like we can just look at things differently, right? Like we just have experience from other clients that we've done work for where it's like, oh, they need this thing and that's going to get them to the next level. Yeah.
Amazing. Awesome. So we have about 5 minutes left. Is there anything else that you want to make sure that you get out there before we start inviting questions in?
Well, I also want to share this data that I have around consistency beating strategy, because I think
Yeah.
as business owners, sometimes we get so consumed with what should I do? Like, what is the right strategy? Is it email? Is it ads? Is it Facebook groups? Like, what is it? And here's something that was really eye-opening to me around how consistency beats strategy every time. So if you have a 9 out of 10 client getting strategy, but you're only consistent with it like 1 out of 10 times, so you don't really do it every day, but like when you do, it's good, you have a 9% chance of success. But on the other hand, if you have a 5 out of 10 client getting strategy, but you're consistent with it 9 out of 10 times, you have a 45% chance of success. So my point here is whatever marketing strategy or tactic you're going to do, just choose it and be consistent with it. So what can you do, you know, depending on what it is, what can you do every day or what can you do every week? For me, I
Yes.
know I have to do a lot of individual outreach, but I know that I get very burnt out if I send 50 messages one day. I'll send 50 one day and 3 months later I might send some. But if I just do one thing every single day, that's the consistency and that's where the success comes in.
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be overwhelming. Like you're saying, if it's just one thing a day
Yeah.
and it's consistent, I think that's where a lot of people kind of get sidetracked is they try something. I'm guilty of this myself,
Yeah.
especially earlier in my career. Try something once, and if it doesn't work, it didn't work. I'm a
Oh,
big
it's the
failure.
worst. It's like
But it does
totally.
take consistency. You do
Yeah.
have to show up again and again. So thank you for that.
for sure.
I do want to just allow everybody a chance to, I have Facebook up here too, so if anybody has any questions, does anybody here on the Zoom call have any questions before we wrap it up? I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance. Anyone? Emerald Star Marketing, I see your comment and I will gladly reach out to you in a direct message. This just isn't the spot to discuss that. Right.
Oh,
All right, well,
what's the cost? Oh, what's the cost of the package? So I just, the rescue packages, I bill hourly. It's $2.10 an hour. So if it's 10 hours, that's $2,100. And I try and make that pretty straightforward. So you can choose how many hours of time you need.
Awesome. And for everyone listening, I have it in the copy above this video as to how you can partake in those packages. But Katrina, if you just want to let everyone know how they can work with you.
Yeah, so on Not the Marketing Girl, you go to notthemarketinggirl.com. There's a rescue package if you just need like a one-off thing, extra eyes to get that going. That's probably the easiest and best way to get started. There's also some very low cost worksheets and templates on there that we use on the other side of the business, the full service digital marketing agency. And I think they range between like $1.99 and $5.99 or something like that. So super affordable if you just need some quick process sort of things.
Yeah, and those are super helpful. I've purchased those before, and it's such an easy way to get through it instead of trying to poke around the internet for hours.
Yeah, right.
That way you just have it right in front of you.
And it just feels like, okay, well, if it's good enough for an agency that's been around for 12 years, like it certainly is step by step that'll get you going. Yes. And then you don't have to sort of poke around the internet and hope you stumble upon just the right thing, you know.
Absolutely. Well, we have a couple of minutes left. Is there any last words that you have to share with the audience?
Well, Ashley, thank you for that. Thank you for that nice comment. That was sweet. Okay, so last words, and I made some notes here. That's what I'm looking at. Last things to think of are for a lot of business services. So this isn't necessarily like e-commerce, but if you're doing a service for another business, conversions happen in conversations. I know so many of us are wanting to create just the right digital marketing funnel, get everyone through the process, have just the right lead magnet and all of that. But I would encourage you to find ways where you can get meetings, get conversations booked on your calendar, because that is going to be the shortest path for conversions.
Awesome. Such a joy to spend time with you. And I hope that we stay connected. To me, this is everything. Building connections is great, but maintaining them, I think, is how we really lift each other up as women, and how we grow together. So thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. You're welcome. I intend to do the same.
Absolutely. So for anyone looking to work with Katrina, it's notthemarketinggirl.com. All of the information is in the copy above, so be sure to check that out. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in just a few minutes when we pop back on with the next speaker. Take care, and happy International Women's Day, Katrina.
See ya. Thank you. Happy International Women's Day to you.